You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 333. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, author of How to Get On Podcasts, the podcast matchmaker, and CEO and founder of the MLG Collective. I'm excited to share the stories and life lessons of changemakers and authors with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Steph. I feel like we just started the 333 seems like one of those angel number, like
it does.
Something good's going to happen.
I love threes. Threes are my favorite number.
So I didn't know that about you. I like it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So there you go.
I love that. And you're drinking your coffee. I've got mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk today about the pressure to read all the books.
All the books, yes.
And I feel I can really relate to this because since I read for every interview, I'm constantly like, oh, I want to read this book. Oh, I want to read this book. And then I put the pressure on myself of not only am I reading the books for the interviews, but, oh, this new book came out and I really, really want to read this book, but I don't have time to read this book. And I'd like to slide in a fun book. Like they're all good books. They're all fun books. But at the same time, I'm like, I just want to read a book that has nothing to do with anything else.
Yes, which is fair and valid. It is fair and valid. I think that's really important. I'm a big advocate of life is too short to read a book that's not relating to you or resonating with you. And one of the things I say to my book club all the time is that the right book will find you at the right time. And so if you're not connecting with a book right now, put it down. Obviously, if it's for your job, that's a little bit trickier. But if it's something you're just picking up because you heard everybody's reading it, loving it, even if you don't read it or love it, there's nothing wrong with you. It's maybe it's not resonating with you right now. Maybe it'll be your favorite book in 3 years. Who knows how it could affect you. So, I'm a big believer in not forcing yourself to read books that everybody else is reading or feeling the need to keep up with a certain,
keeping up with the Joneses of the book club.
Yeah. Like you hear people say like, I've read this many books this month, right? Or this is how many books I'm going to read in a year. And I think it's good to have goals. I always write down every single book I've read just so that I can remember. Cause sometimes I'll pick up a book again and be like, did I read this already?
Yeah.
And so, I think it's important, especially when books are your job, to keep some sort of record of what you have read, just so you know. But there's no pressure to, the other thing I always say to my book club is if you read one book a year, you're a reader. You do not have to read a certain number. You don't have to read all the popular books. You could literally be like, all I want to read is Ellie Hazelwood books. And so I will read her new book each year, and that's all I'm going to read. And that is okay. That's absolutely okay. And I say pick up books that resonate with you at a certain time. I do feel, for authors, they feel bad for them because there's so many books getting released into the world each day. Now that
it's crazy.
Publishing is available, which I think is great. And like just so many options that it's like hard to even keep up. Like you're like, I can't even begin to think of all the books. And so to be able to be in that top level where everybody knows your name, like, okay, so most people know that Nikki Ehrlich is releasing The Poppy Fields today because she was a read with Jenna Pick when she released The Measure years ago. But to get to that place is really, really hard to do. And so I think as an author, I feel for them because I want to read all the books, and so I feel pressure to read all the books because I want all the authors to know how much their work means. But at the end of the day, you want to really, like we talked about in previous episodes, you want to really engage with the book. You want to read it. You want to get what the author's trying to say. And if it's not hitting you at that right moment, then put it down. Put it down. I'm guaranteed. So Michelle, if someone were to pick up your book and like it's just not the right time for them to read your book. They're like, this sounds really interesting, but they start reading it and they're like, oh, I'm not fully grabbing the information because I haven't started my business yet, or I haven't, done these things.
Mm-hmm.
But then like a year from now, they start their business, they pick up your book and it's like, oh, this is like my new Bible. I need to like learn everything she has to say. Wouldn't you rather they wait until, it's really resonating with them?
Oh, absolutely. But then
Yeah.
also, don't put that you DNF'd it, did not finish
No,
on a
no, 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 no,
review.
no. DNF only counts if you hate it. This is my feelings on DNF. Putting a bookmark in a book and putting it aside for a later date is not DNFing. That is, hey, friend, I'm going to put you on my bookshelf and I'm going to wait till I'm connecting with you more. Maybe you just got a lot of extra brain fog this week and you're having a hard time resonating with the book. There are so many things that play into connecting with a certain book or not. DNFing, in my personal opinion, is when there is something in the book you hated and you don't want to finish the book. So then you stop. Or like the writing to you is so boring, you're never going to want to pick it up again. I would even say, you may be wrong. You may end up picking up and loving it someday. But I think DNF sounds so harsh that I am a big fan of people putting a book aside if it's not connecting with them right now. But DNFing, it's like, oh, done. Like feels like a stamp. Like, you are not worth finishing. Boring. I'm done. It's like, oh, okay. Like, let's.
A little dramatic there. I like it. Yeah.
It just makes me angry. Everyone, again, as we spoke about last week, everyone is entitled to their own opinions about books.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has different levels of spice they can handle in romances. Everybody has different preferences of what type of books they like, what types of narratives they like. There are several women in my book club who hate when I pick books with lots of different characters. That personally does not bother me, so I do it a lot. But people do, it does bother them. That is okay. That's something they're allowed to feel, right? There's no one way to be a reader. You're not only smart if you're just reading the top like literary Oprah's book club tomes, you are also smart if you're reading, again, to piggyback off last week, The Hunger Games. Those are all smart choices. Okay. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh.
That's
I
okay.
was rearing up. I was ramping up, Michelle,
I
for
can
my
tell.
TED Talk of the week. And now it is gone. You say something. You say words.
I think that there's the FOMO of the fear of missing out, in case anybody doesn't know what FOMO is, of, I didn't read that book. And I get that because I'm reading and it's like, oh, how many books can you read at one time? But then there's also, I get asked many times, like, how do you read so much? And there will be months where I get through 6+ books a month.
Right.
But like last month, I think I got through 3. Right. Because it was so busy, but it was still 3. And then this month it's going to look like a shit ton of books because I have started reading books like in January.
Right.
And it's part of my morning routine.
Yeah.
So I am finishing multiple books because I'm reading just a chunk a day. So June is going to look like, wow, Michelle did nothing but read. And literally that's all I've done.
Right.
And it's not true.
Right.
So I think take that into perspective when we look at how many books people are reading. I think we also need to look at when people post how many books they're reading. Is it so that they can say, look at all the books that I'm reading? Or is it because they're trying to give credit to the authors of the books that they're reading too? I don't promote like, this is how many books I've read this year. I'm promoting these are really great books and I've read them and I've reviewed them. And that's why I'm posting about them.
Yeah.
Which then, I mean, I can just go on and on and on. Now it's my turn to TED Talk it.
Yes, I love that.
Like if we then go to the Goodreads section or Storygraph, wherever you're posting your reviews, there are many people who are posting reviews of books that they have not read. Like there is nothing, even on Amazon, you can post a review on a book that you have not purchased through Amazon.
Yeah.
So how do we know if somebody has actually read these books? I mean, I think anybody who follows you and I know that we read the books that we review, that we post about. Like that's a given. But I have seen, and I have had to unfollow people on Goodreads who post reviews that are simply like a regurgitation of the back cover. I
Right.
think that's something to look for. Like, how do you identify these people
Right.
that are just throwing up reviews that are meaningless? To
Mm-hmm.
me, like, don't even, like, I don't need you to post a review of the book if you haven't read it. And like, it's not, you can tell.
Right.
So there's, oh, and does that mean that you've read 500 books this year? Absolutely not.
Right.
It's literally physically impossible as a human being to read that many books a year.
I mean, some people may be able to do it, but I haven't figured it out.
But you're obviously not doing something else.
So it's like almost 2 a day. So that's a lot.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, I can listen to an audiobook and I listen on 2 times speed.
Yeah.
So, which some people are like, that's insane. Like, doesn't it
I
distort?
don't even listen on 2 times. All I do is listen to audiobooks. And I stop at about 1.75 is like about as high as I usually go. But everyone is different. Exactly.
Right.
Everyone's different. I will say this about writing the reviews. I think it is hard for some people to compile their thoughts. So I do think some people do just like kind of rewrite like the plot, like for a review. And then you
Yeah.
kind of have to post a review. If it's like they're getting it from NetGalley, then they can immediately post it to Goodreads and it like
Mhm.
shows better for their NetGalley because they're wanting books. So I will say, like, I think it's hard to fully tell whether someone really read the book or not, just because sometimes it's hard for people to compile their thoughts on it. And I think they feel the need to write a long review. I do not. When I read something on NetGalley, I'm like, I love this. This was so good, blah, blah, blah. Done. Like, that's all I put because it's too, I don't have the brain space to go into the depths of everything I felt about that book. If it's something I feel like I need to go into, I will. But, everybody's kind of different with how they write their reviews. I think you can tell. I agree with you when they're saying when they're moving at a pace that feels, like almost non-human. You're kind of like, how's this happening? How's that doing? So, but again, everybody's different. Everyone, does move at their own pace. I just think at the end of the day, it comes down to integrity. If you say you read the book, read the book. Do not leave reviews on Goodreads or Amazon if your book came damaged. Okay, that's not the place for that. Or if it's not like, again, if it wasn't resonating with you at this right time, I don't know why there's a need to continue to post that. I don't ever share. I'm not on Goodreads. Also, I'm kind of, but I'm not really. I don't feel the need to connect my NetGalley reviews to my Goodreads because I feel like Goodreads reviews should be for people who have finished the book and have thought out what they want to say about the book. And so that's what Goodreads should be for. And if I start a book on NetGalley and it's not fully resonating with me, I don't review it anyway. I just wait and then until I finish it and then I can give my thoughts. But if it's like a review that I'm like, this one really didn't like connect. I didn't connect with this one as much. I leave that on NetGalley because I'm like, I don't feel the need to share that further. But everyone kind of does their book stuff differently. I will say, I'm very cautious of the fact that authors pour their heart and soul into these books, and the reviews need to be honest. The books that you're promoting need to mean something to you. It's kind of like what we talked about last week about piling on when like someone gets all keyboard warrior-y or someone's upset about something and then you just jump on the bandwagon without really thinking it through.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just promote a book because it's popular if you haven't read it or resonated with it. Wait and read it and then decide if it's for you or not. And if it's not, that's okay. But, I think it can get very competitive, or you want to seem like you've read all these books, or you want to make posts because the posts will do better if you're posting
Right.
about more popular books. And I think it's a disservice to the books that you're actually really reading. You need to leave space for those.
It's really interesting that you just mentioned how you review on NetGalley and like versus Goodreads, because I didn't know that about you. And
Yeah.
the way I do it, I review everything at one time.
Yeah.
So once I finish a book, I
Mm-hmm.
go to Goodreads, I plug in that I finished it because I always give myself a challenge. And
Right.
I'm one of those people where I'm like, oh, what is my challenge? Let me exceed it. I've always
Same.
been this
I
way.
do that too, but it lives in my notes app. It's not on Goodreads. Like I just keep it in my notes app. So I'll be like, I want to read, 150 books this year, whatever. So then I'll like go through and then I will write which books I read each month for the notes app, and then I can go quickly search. So I am like a grandma. I don't even plug it into Goodreads. So.
I like, so what I like to do is be able to put that I finished it. So that way it sends me an email reminder of, you finished it. Do you want to write a review?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll finish at nighttime. And then I'm like, I'm not writing a review at 10 o'clock at night. Then I get up, I write my review in Goodreads, but I have that screen up. There's a whole process. And then I go to my NetGalley, because anyone who's not on NetGalley, you get approved for a book prior to publishing. But they look at your shelf and how frequently your percentage of reading the books and giving feedback. So the higher that is, the more likely you are to get approved of an advanced reader copy. So then I go there and I go, oh, I finished this book. And then I start to leave my review, and then I copy my Goodreads, the actual review, into NetGalley. And then I post onto Goodreads. Then I take the link to that to share it
to
Netflix,
Amazon.
Only if it's out yet. And then I go into Canva, because I start a graphic every month for all of my book reviews, and I paste it in there. So I really like, the reviews are everywhere, but yes, I do my work and I read it, and you're not going to read a rehash of the plot, because I'm like, read the back copy then. That's literally what the cover of the book is for, if you want to know what it's about. But if you want to know how I feel and what I got out of it, then you can read my review.
I love that.
And I always say no spoilers.
Yes.
So that's my process for the book reviews.
See, I am in this desperate attempt to increase my NetGalley score, because it's terrible.
What's your NetGalley score?
Oh, I have worked really hard to get it to 42%.
I think I'm at like 60%, 61%.
They say 80 is recommended. When I first got approved for NetGalley, I got so excited and just requested everything. And then I was like, oopsie doopsies. And now I'm very grateful to be auto-approved by a lot of publishers. So I'll just be like, ooh, read now, read now, read now, read now. But the reality is I struggle to read the books until the audiobooks are out. Because of my ADD, I usually wait till the audiobook's out, and then I will sit and actually physically read. But I usually do all of my reading through audiobooks. So there'll be like a wait till I can fully review the book. But I always go to NetGalley first. And then that's basically the only place I put like up-to-date reviews, because I am just trying to get my thoughts and be like, look, NetGalley, I did it. Done.
Yes.
Move my percentage up, but I don't share it on Goodreads. I won't share it on Goodreads unless it's something. Oh, also, I haven't been on Goodreads in like 3 years. So that's also a problem. But I really do want people look at Goodreads reviews and people look at Amazon reviews about deciding to buy a book. Not a ton of people look at, I think a lot of people in NetGalley look at NetGalley reviews, right? If you're debating about whether to request a book or not, I'll go look at those. So my NetGalley reviews are very like rough. They're just like, oh, like last night I wrote one for Nikki Erlich's The Poppy Fields. And I was like, this is another masterpiece by Nikki Erlich. Like this is, basically, and I swooned over it for probably 7 sentences. And then I was like, 5 stars, done, So when I sit down to write the review for my post, that would be more likely what I would send to like Goodreads or Amazon, is like my more, like, let me sit and think through all my thoughts about everything that moved me about this book, because sometimes it takes me a couple days to like percolate it all,
Yeah.
So I like your process. You have a lot of thinking though in that, like you wait and you think through your Goodreads, you think through your NetGalley. So everybody knows that if you're on NetGalley, Michelle's reviews are very well thought out.
There's a whole process. I'm working on a reel, and it's a very slow reel, because I'm like processing, how do I create like what I'm going to read and what I'm going to interview on. And it goes all the way. I will show you, because it is going to be in this reel, but I have a Google Doc.
Nice.
That goes month by month.
Awesome.
Of what books are coming out on what date.
Where do you go for that information?
I will start Googling. I will look at NetGalley. I will
Mhm.
see if there's like upcoming book lists. There's all kinds of websites,
Yes, that's where I
of
do
what's
too. I
coming up.
wasn't sure if you had like a one-stop shop that you go to
No,
for, because I feel
no.
like every list has some different ones. So you kind of do have to compile it, which is also what I do.
Yeah. So I compile like what's coming out when, and then I
Mhm.
have a whole highlighting system of did I read it? Did I read it and was an invitation sent to be interviewed? Oh, I've read it. So then it gets a different one. Oh, I've booked them on the podcast. And
Nice.
then, oh, it's been recorded and is live.
Nice.
And it just goes on and on and on every single month. Okay, where am I? And then it gets complicated when you have multiple books on the same day get published. Like
Mhm.
we're recording this today. You've already mentioned one book. I have two others that were published today that
Which
I
ones?
interviewed both. Fired Up by Shannon Watts and
Okay.
Hazel Says No by Jessica Berger.
Nice.
Wait, what's the rest of her name? There's more to her name. She's got three names. And
Nice.
so you have to decide, okay, well, which is going live first? Who did I ask first?
Mhm.
Jessica Berger Gross. Thank you. I had to think
Yeah.
about it. But there's a whole process. And I think that, there's the process to reading the book, to figuring out which books will be read, which books will be interviewed, then reviewing the books, and even just getting your hands on the books. There are
Mhm.
books on here that I haven't gotten my hands on. So if I can't get my hands on them before they come out, I
Yeah.
might not get to read them. I can
Mhm.
read them after the fact, but then there's so
Yeah.
much that goes into it.
Yes. And
And
it's a very, yeah. I mean, I am months behind on books I want to talk about just because there's so many books and only so many days. And I've pigeonholed myself into this place where I have to make a pie each time I want to talk about a book. So now it's like I'm years behind because it takes me like 6 hours to make the pie. So that's a bit tricky. But I love that. I think that's awesome. Michelle, I do want to make sure you are saving room for books that are like feeding your soul as well.
oh, I am. That's why I have
Okay,
the
good.
morning books.
Okay, good,
Like
good,
I
good.
am on a Brianna Wiest kick, and
Nice.
I have her pivot year that I've been reading one a day. That's what you're supposed to
Mhm.
do and journal about it. I just started The Mountain Is You.
Nice.
So I do that. I'm about to finish Big Magic. This is my
Nice.
whole June thing. Like, watch out because there's all kinds of books that are being
Yeah.
finished in June.
Right.
And then a lot of these books I do want to read.
Right.
Like, it's not that I have to read them.
Right. You want to.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I'm reading. I just started 2 nights ago. Everyone is Lying to You by Joe Piazza, and
Yeah.
I've been dying to read that. Like
Yeah.
when I got approved, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I was
Ah,
holding off on the, well, I need to read it before I can reach out. And I'm like, no, screw it. I want Joe on my podcast, please. And
good.
I'm like, and if she could book like during this week, then that gives me enough time to finish the book.
Yeah.
Booked.
Yeah.
So that'll be an upcoming episode. But I am like obsessed
Mhm.
with that book. And every book that I do read, I truly enjoy. I
Yeah.
hope that comes across in the interviews and stuff, that
Oh,
I
yeah.
truly enjoy it. But it's very different from like, oh, I haven't interviewed Ellie Hazelwood, so I haven't read an Ellie Hazelwood book.
Exactly.
How do you slide those in too? And that's
Yeah.
where I go with NetGalley is I'm like, ooh, that looks good. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Here's what I do. This is kind of my rule of thumb. Because again, everybody's different on how their brain functions, how they, and at the end of the day, reading is a mood sport. It could be the world's best book and you may not be in the mood for it, which is why you don't say DNF. You say, I'm just going to stick this right here and wait till I'm ready. And there's nothing wrong with that because you want to honor that author's work by giving it the full attention that you have, right? So what I do, because sometimes, when it's something I know I need to read for either a post or even NetGalley or something I need to, like an event I'm doing, even if it's a book I'm really excited to read, it goes into the homework category of my brain. And my brain goes, wah, wah, I don't want to do it because it's forced. And it's not forced. I chose it, but it's like now we're in homework mode. So what I do is I alternate the books I listen to with one I need to read by because of work. And then one I'm just picking on my own. And so I alternate like that. Now I read almost a book a day because I am constantly listening to audiobooks and I'm a terrible parent. So that's how I do that. But I love Michelle is a great example of another way. Like she has books she reads at certain times a day, and you have several open, or you'll have one you're listening to, one you listen to for your morning meditation time, one you're reading for, and I think that's a really great other option is like you're mixing it up so your brain's not just in homework mode.
Yes.
It's in the morning, I'm feeding my soul. I'm listening to this audiobook. This one is a workbook I've been dying to read, whether for work or not. This is one I'm doing prepping for a future interview, and then I think however you mix it up, whether it be one book a month, but you alternate each month what type of book you read. I think that's really important because it can get, you can lose the enjoyment of the book or what the author's trying to say if you're just trying to like speed read through it just to keep up, like you said, with the Joneses, or because everybody's reading it, or honor yourself in your reading journey, and say, not to sound too woo woo, but that's like how I feel. You honor where you're at, honor where your brain's at, honor where life is at. If you're in a season where like you're struggling more with like depression, you may really love steamy romances. They may help pull you out a little bit. Or you may only want to read murder mysteries, and that's okay too. Or you want to read books that are about people changing the world for the better. Maybe that helps you. So it's honor where you're at in your brain, and remember that just because you didn't like the book or it didn't resonate with you at that time does not mean it's a bad book, or that everybody else should hate it, or that it's worth stamping a DNF, this stinks, category and shoving it aside, because you never know. There's one of my very favorite books of all time is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and I highly recommend everybody read this book. It is an ode to the love of reading. It's by Gabrielle Zevin, and it is short. It's this short, powerful story about this bookseller on Nantucket who has this little bookstore, and he's this cranky old man. No, he's not old. He just acts like a cranky old man. He's like probably in his 40s, but 30 to 40s. But he lives by that, just that, he'll pick up, and at one point this gal brings a book, and she's like, this is a really powerful, amazing book. And he was like, rah. And he picks it up like 3 years later, and he calls her and he's like, I'm so sorry. That was a masterpiece. I should have read it, sooner. And then he's like, but the right book finds you when you need it most. And I believe that. I really do believe that. So I love that. I love how you do that, Michelle. And I think either option, I think it's just important to mix it up so that your brain's not, like, and even for me, if I get stuck, on one genre too long, like if I read romance too long, they start to get like cheesier for me in my brain. I'm like, well, or if I read too many mysteries too long, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, now this person's dead. Okay. I stop feeling the impact. So I think it's like with your taste buds, like it's best to like not eat only one food at a time. They say mix it up as you're eating. Everybody's different. You got your things, but like they say like take a bite of salad and then take a bite of steak because it helps keep your taste buds going, like an alert. I think the same thing works for your brain. And and at the end of the day, if reading is part of your job description, make sure you're doing it in a way that honors the people you're interacting with, the authors you're interacting with, and that your brain is in a place where you can fully engage with them so that you don't get, because it shows through your podcast, Michelle. I don't have one-on-one interactions with authors that people see. I have messages and emails and stuff, but not you. Yours is where everybody can see it, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's extra pressure there because it's going to show up on your face. It's going to show up in the questions you ask. And so I love that you make it a very important point for you to say, I'm going to read the damn book.
Yes.
And I'm going to show you through my face and the questions I'm asking that I did engage with this book. And that have you ever booked someone and then started reading their book and been like, ooh, I don't want to do this anymore?
No, because I usually get sent the book or I pick up the book and I start to read it. I don't send out an invitation to be on the show until after I've read the book.
I love that. And then that's an extra boost for that author because you're like, ooh, you read it, you loved it, you want me on.
Yeah.
Not just because everybody else is doing it, but because you personally loved your book. And I think that's a way to know as an author you're in safe hands with someone like Michelle, because you'll know, oh, she reached out to me because, and I think like with Joe Piazza, you knew you would love that book.
Yeah,
like
I was going to say she's one that that's one of the few
to read
times
that book.
Yes.
So like that I think counts in the same category, like as, hey, I want you because I love your work. I love what you do. I know what you do because I took the time to read it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important because again, I mean, if we're going to die on a hill, Michelle and I are going to die on the integrity in the book space, you know.
And we're going to read the damn books.
We're going to read the damn books. Okay. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get a tattoo that says read the damn book.
I do like that. Yeah. I like that. I don't have any tattoos. And we've been talking about tattoos.
We need some mugs. Contact the trademark attorney.
Yeah.
Get some mugs. This is a whole thing. I see it for us. I see merch.
Oh, I love this.
I would wear a sweatshirt that said read the damn book.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Well, there you go, everybody. Let us know who's going to buy from us so we can start making money on this show.
I do.
I love it.
I love it. Oh, Michelle, I love you.
I love you. Until next week, right?
Happy reading. Yeah.
Yes.
Reading those damn books. Yep. Okay.